What's up, everyone? Welcome back to more Reddit stories about entitled people, insane people, and everything in between. And as usual, we got some more Reddit posts to check out today. So be sure to share your thoughts about today's stories down in the comments, and we're getting right into it. Found a tracker under my car placed by my roommate. How do I go about this? I'm a 25 female. My roommate is a 34 male. I moved to a new town last year, only knew one person, stayed with her for a bit until I found a house to rent, but I needed a roommate. She introduced me to a guy she worked with who also needed a roommate because he just got a divorce. I met him first, didn't get weird vibes, seemed nice enough. About 6 months ago, he made the suggestion to be friends with benefits, and I made the stupid mistake of agreeing. We both did not want a relationship. Everything was fine until he started getting weird and staying up until I got home, questioning me about where I had been and who I was around. I then ended the hooking up, told him I didn't think it was like that. He got mad. Everything was fine for a bit, until yesterday. I live in a pretty rural area where most businesses are small and family-owned. Since not a lot of people are getting out, I decided to go ahead and get some new tires and support a mechanic shop I go to, since I doubt they're getting regular business at the moment. I'm there waiting when the guy comes over and tells me he wants to show me something. I'm like, okay. We go over to my car and he bends down and points under at a black box. He asks me if I know what that is and tells me it's a GPS. It took me a second to understand the implications of a GPS being under my car. I was like, so someone put it there? It's clear I have no idea why it's there, and he got actually concerned and told me if I didn't know, I needed to find out. I feel so creeped out because I have no friends here. The friend I knew moved away. I only know some people at work, but we're not friends, and it's been hard to meet people. There's no other way a GPS would be on my car unless my roommate put it there. Now I'm freaked out in a way I've never been before, and I can't move out. I'm scared to ask him about it. I have no one to stay with, no family here. What do I do? Do I just ask him about it outright? I left the GPS there because I don't want him to know I know at the moment. What do I do? Update, kind of. PSA, I bought my car brand new 7 years ago and paid for it in cash. I've never owed anything on it. The tracker couldn't have been from the dealership. So last night I decided to subtly pack my things and plan on making the drive at some point today back to my hometown. He works during the day, but I work from home because my office is closed until at least this summer. I realized I could probably fit all of my stuff in my car, and since my lease ends in May anyway, I'm just moving out. The only furniture that's mine and not the landlord's or his is my bed, and it's old, so I think I'm just going to leave it here. I went down to the police station early this morning and had them remove it. I don't think there's much they can do besides document it. They asked me some questions and I said I didn't know, but I know no one here and think it might be my roommate. They said it looked like a cheap one from Amazon or eBay and they'll check it out. Honestly, I may just end up staying home. I miss being in a familiar place where I know basically everyone in town and I miss my friends. Working from home for a few months might give me enough time to switch jobs. So that's all I have for now. Update. Since I think it'll be lost in the comments if anyone is curious. Already mentioned I went to the police/home, all settled in now. Ended up asking him about it via phone. He admitted to it, got freaked out when I said I gave it to the police, said he was concerned for my safety when I would go places by myself after work. Yeah, okay. We got into a scuffle about it. He finally snapped and said that he knew I was seeing someone when I was hooking up with them. I wasn't. So yeah, my first experience with crazy and hopefully my last. My coworker said my lunch didn't belong in the office fridge because it smelled too poor. So I started a new job a few months ago. It's a small office, maybe 15 people, and everyone brings lunch since food around here is crazy expensive. I usually bring homemade stuff like adobo or fried rice. Nothing weird or strong smelling. I even use airtight containers. Anyway, this one coworker, let's call her Maddie, one time she opens the fridge during lunch and goes, "Ugh, whoever keeps bringing that cheap-smelling food is making the fridge stink like a food court." Everyone just stared. I laughed it off and said, "That's probably mine." She literally made a face and said, "Oh, I thought it was from maintenance." I didn't even know what to say. Like, sorry my lunch isn't from Whole Foods? The next day I found my food thrown away. My name was on it. She said, it looked spoiled. Spoiled? It was literally cooked that morning. So now I keep my lunch in my backpack with an ice pack. Everyone's been telling me to report her, but I'm still debating if it's worth the drama. Am I the a-hole for being pissed off at an officer during a lockdown drill in my classroom? So at the school I work at, they've been doing lockdown drills by classroom in addition to doing it whole school. Every time it has been different. The first time the resource officer came in to, quote, test my students and me, we were told to line up quickly because the, quote, shooter was on the 3rd floor and we had to evacuate. I stood at the front and walked backwards, watching my students be very calm and quiet. We get outside and it gets a little chaotic. I have a couple students who have autism, and one girl in particular had panicked and ran off to find the ESE teacher. When we got back, I talked to her about the importance of sticking with me. I told her it was just a drill and to not be too upset. She was in tears because she thought it was real. The next time he did a lockdown, it was the same class period. This time, he wanted my kids to line up against the walls when he came in. At this time, there were teachers or students hitting a steel drum to simulate gunfire and were banging on doors. The same girl that had previously panicked crawled under a table and began crying. I talked to her real quick about how she needed to head to the other side of the room. She runs over and literally dives into a pile of kids. After this ordeal, I had to talk to her again about how to react better. She apologized and has since gotten better. This Friday is where I lost it. That morning, the officer came by my room and told me he'd do a drill later that day. I told him that I had a child with autism that I have been working with, and if he could not visit that class period because I don't want her to miss out on state test prep because she's too scared, that would be great. It has begun to seem like he has been only picking this particular class period ever. He said he wasn't sure and that she needs to just deal with it. Later on, during the same friggin' class, and during state test prep for a test on Tuesday, my door is unlocked by a master key by a teacher. In comes another teacher with an air horn that also blasts smoke, and she runs around the room. The student I had warned him about falls to the ground screaming in hysterics. I just glared at him while the teacher without the air horn comforted her. I was starting to feel like he was just picking on her. The teacher that was comforting the student saw how angry I was and saw me walking toward the officer. She immediately got in front of me and told me to walk out and relax, and I did. I was nearly in tears because I was that frustrated. Update. So I finally got a chance to talk to my principal today. Yesterday was a hot mess due to other reasons that are unrelated. She seemed very surprised with this last drill, and she didn't seem to understand the point. She is currently waiting on hearing from the other teachers who have had similar issues, but long story short, he is not coming back for the next school year. I had no idea this many people would care. I followed through on some of them by talking to the ESE department head and making her aware. Thank you all. My server ordered himself a refill on my never-ending pasta bowl, and it felt weird. So my wife and I went to our local Olive Garden the other night, and we had a server who was acting goofy as hell from the beginning. When we ordered our food, I told him I was getting the never-ending pasta bowl, and he said, "I'm gonna order myself a refill on your order. When it comes out, just set it to the side for me." We laughed. He said it again when he brought the salad, and again when he brought the entrees out. It was getting a little weird. Then he actually did it, gave me the plate and a to-go box, and told me to just set it off to the side for him. It felt weird not only because of the obvious reason. This dude got way too familiar with us. Never had him serve us before or met him before that night, to basically scam himself a meal with our help, but I felt weird handling his food as well. Like, he didn't give me any extra silverware to scoop the food into the to-go bowl, and the sauce made the pasta stick to the bowl when I went to try and dump it into the to-go container. I didn't rat him out, but it just felt unprofessional and weird to put a customer in that situation, without me actually saying, sure, we can do that. Like I said, all I did was laugh at the suggestion when he brought it up. Our friend ate literally everything we owned in our house. My husband and I live abroad. Earlier this year, a mutual acquaintance, let's call him K, reached out saying he'd been scammed with an apartment rental and had nowhere to stay. At first, we only offered a weekend, but he was polite, helped around the house, and seemed grateful, so we ended up letting him stay the full 20 days he'd asked for. During that time, some things rubbed us the wrong way. He never bought groceries, and multiple times he pretended he was going to pay, but, quote, forgot his wallet, or claimed he could only use Apple Pay, not accepted at our local supermarket. He'd eat way more than his share. Once my husband and I shared half a pizza and he ate the other pizza and a half without contributing. Still, we felt bad for him, so we let it go. We stayed friendly, and a few months later, we were planning a 17-day trip. Since he was struggling with rent, we offered him to stay at our place in exchange for taking care of our dog. I even wrote a Google Doc with instructions for the house, dog care, gym access, etc. I told him he could eat anything that was going to expire: fruit, veggies, yogurt, etc. When we came back, everything was gone. And I mean everything. The entire fridge, freezer, pantry. He finished 2 jars of jam, a jar of peanut butter, a giant Costco bottle of olive oil, condiments, rice, snacks, cheese, even my husband's supplements, creatine, protein, collagen. He completely destroyed a ceramic pan. He consumed things that usually last us 6 months in just 2 weeks. I honestly suspect he might have taken stuff with him, because it's insane how much was missing. I didn't confront him except to ask him to replace the pan, which he mocked me about. "It's just a pan, why are you making it a big deal?" I felt deeply disrespected. Now he keeps texting me, acting like nothing happened, and wants to hang out. I told my husband I don't want him in our home ever again. My husband says I'm being too harsh, and if he wants to stay friends, that's his choice, but I feel completely taken advantage of and disrespected. Anyway guys, that's going to do it for today, and as always, thank you for watching. Be sure to drop a like if you enjoyed and subscribe to the channel for more Reddit stories. So I'm out of here, take care, and I'll see you next time.